Welcome everyone into Garden Views. And today our guest is a returning guest. We don't have a lot of returning guests on Garden Views. On Garden of Doom, that happens all the time. But way back around Christmas time of 2021, we interviewed In Cat We Trust, Katrina Blake. And at the time, I labeled the show On the Cusp because I saw these great things happening to her in the entertainment world, mostly in the professional wrestling world, becoming a commentator and going on these big podcasts and things like that. And she had just gotten a gig with, I think, what might have been her second or third indie promotion in the region. And since then, it's been nothing but, I mean, she's off the cusp now. She's past the cusp. So we're tracking her success, and we're doing a update show. This is a catch-up show. So, Katrina, how are you?
I'm well, a little tired, but I am good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, you're probably tired jet setting and going to red carpet events and going to celebrity parties until 4 with Bad Bunny and whatnot.
I wish. Not there.
Not there yet. Okay.
Maybe.
You're not that far away from the cusp. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm still getting it together. I feel I've done some awesome things, but I still feel like I'm still working towards what I want to do. So,
well, let's talk about some of those awesome things. And I mean, obviously, I don't expect you to be chronologically exactly perfect, but no one knows you better than you. First of all, I guess we should say you should tell folks who you are.
Hey everybody, I'm Katrina, or sometimes if you're watching interviews, Katrina Storm. I'm a occasional color commentator, ring announcer, backstage correspondent, and media correspondent, as well as a panel creator and a writer.
That's right. You've been to a bunch of cons as well, and I see you even brought Captain Shakespeare along with you a couple times. I mean, I'm not going to say her name because I haven't asked her to be able to say it, though, it's probably not a big deal, but I won't. So since we last spoke, sort of, let's pick up your trajectory. I think that you had started with it was all pro, something in Jersey, like in Jersey City. So I think pick up from there. Like what has happened since that time?
That was with We Are Wrestling. That was Jersey. That was like my very first kind of indie gig with the backstage stuff. And I've been fortunate since then. I've been able to interview Jay Lethal, which was pretty cool. I got Speedball Mike Bailey, which was pretty awesome. I've done Battle Club Pro with some interviews, got Masha Slamberich, which was cool. I believe I also interviewed her on Real Wrestling as well. It's been pretty amazing. Willow Nightingale, which was a Battle Club, and she's now on Ring of Honor, and I believe she just went to New Japan, or she will be going to New Japan this week. I think it's this week, which I thought is pretty awesome. So I've gotten to do that, which was pretty cool. I did my first ring announcing gig last summer for Black Girl Magic in Brooklyn. And that was I was very nervous because, again, public speaking, and kind of having the project. I have a pretty soft-spoken voice, and so, but everybody was really kind, and it was really cool, and everybody was like, "You did great." I'm like, "Well, hopefully I did great. I don't know if you guys just being nice about it." But that has been pretty awesome. I've been to a few AEW shows for media purposes, which has been pretty awesome. I got to sit in quite a few media calls.
Yeah, big spot over there, getting media passes.
Yeah, that's been pretty insane. I'm working on the WWE aspect. I did go one time. I think it was Survivor Series. I want to say this might have been 2021, I think. It might have been 2021. It wasn't last year. And I got to go to Survivor Series in Brooklyn and as a media pass. And so that was cool, but it was pretty low key. And so the goal hopefully is to get into the press room after pay-per-view for WWE, which I'm working on that. And then the panels, for the most part, I pitched the panel for New York Comic Con and really didn't think I was going to get it, and I got it, and that's been like insane. And then I've pitched it to a bunch of other panels, and it got accepted. I mean, it got denied in some spots, and that's fine because again, I'm not thinking much of it with the panel, but it's also gotten.
Let's take a pause and try to examine something. So first of all, if people don't know Jay Lethal, he's been in he's in his late 30s, but he's the oldest late 30s guy I can think of, because I feel like I've been watching him on TV for like my entire life. He was a staple of TNA before it became Impact. Those of you, even if you were casual wrestling fans at the time, might know him because he would do the Macho Man and Ric Flair impersonations, which were spot on, but it's also interesting because Macho Man and Ric Flair are both white guys, and Jay Lethal is an African-American man. And that was his gimmick for a while. So he got sort of famous doing that. But for the last probably 12 years or so, he's been mostly associated with Ring of Honor, where he's been really a workhorse, considered a wrestling professional as far as in the ring and training people and things like that. And he made the leap to AEW, where he's continued to have a prominent role, probably because he knows how to work the camera, probably because he's also very safe and reliable and doesn't hurt anyone. And him and Jeff Jarrett, who is someone who's been around way longer than I've been an adult. I mean, Jeff Jarrett, I remember Jeff Jarrett when he was just a kid in Mid-South. I can't remember what they called it at the time, but it was his father was the promoter. But he was probably 18 years old and probably 130 pounds, and he's still slinging it. So that's Jay Lethal. Now, Mike Speedball Bailey, right? Is that his name? Now he's doing a pretty big thing also, and isn't he married to someone who's sort of does some of what you do? Isn't his wife Veda Scott?
Yes.
Have you worked with her as well?
Once. She was doing commentary for the show he was on. She did commentary and I was doing interviews. So I've worked with her once.
Okay, now Masha Slamovich is probably someone who 2 years ago I would have said is like you, on the cusp. But now she's sort of hit the big time. And Willow Nightingale, I saw her in MLW. I saw her in Ring of Honor. I've seen her in AEW. She sort of worked her way from the YouTube shows to the primetime shows, working both Ring of Honor and AEW. And yeah, I think you're right. I think she either just went to or is about to go to Japan to be on some of the New Japan Stardom joint shows there. They're both owned by the same parent company. So that's really cool. Those are some big names. But let's not poo-poo on the panel. So what was this panel that you pitched? What was the idea?
The basic idea was just, as a woman wrestling fan, and this is before I started doing this professionally, but I've been a fan a really long time. And so the goal was kind of just to showcase women of color that work in various aspects of wrestling. And so like different roles, like outside. So obviously the wrestler, but like, the commentators or the ring announcers or the people who produce the shows, anybody who falls in the wrestling industry, but just different aspects, and kind of just have some discussion about like, what we do, but also like, if we have any challenges that may arise being a woman of color, or like what we do as far as how important it is. And so that was the basic premise of it. And then I accept that, and New York Comic Con I go to every year, and so that was kind of cool to kind of be on the opposite end of it, where I'm a speaker here, and so it was definitely a different experience, not going through the line with everybody and not having to go through the security. We kind of just went straight in, and that was cool. Like, oh yay, finally, I do this 2-hour wait to get into this con. And
didn't have to wear a costume.
I mean, I somebody thought I had a costume. I was like, no, it was just a really pretty like jumpsuit. I was like, if I do a cosplay, it will not be during a panel. I feel like I wouldn't be able to focus enough to do like my panel. And so it's been really cool, like that, to get accepted for that was like everything. And then when I got heard back from like the one in the UK, and I was really like, oh wow, like we're not even from there, and you guys wanted this, and why we didn't go in person, because it was really last minute when they told us. And I'm like, there's no way we're getting 5 people to the UK in like 3 days. And
passports and things
like that. And like all of that. And I don't even have a passport. I need to get one. Right. So we did it virtually, and I got really good feedback about that, considering we're not
next
from
year.
the UK.
Do they fly you in?
It was mostly just the passport issue for me, definitely. And I think there was another person that I asked and she didn't have hers either. And I'm like, there's no way we're getting this done in 3 days.
Yeah, no.
And so we did it virtual and
People, you need to
then
get passports so that if opportunity knocks, that you can go. But if will they fly you in? Do they fly you in? Do they put you up, or is it sort of expenses are on your own?
it depends, I guess. One was where I was flown in, but then sometimes it's usually you cover the expenses. And so we just try to go like Chicago, we covered it, but we just went on like a couple of airplane deals, which wound up being a really crazy trip in itself. It went really crazy for us to even make it there. We did make it there, but it was a bit of a hassle. Just everything worked really weird that weekend. But just going to LA, which was my first plane ride. And so that was like stressful, but it was really cool to kind of experience that. And being at that con the day before the panel, I got to work with WoW superheroes, WoW wrestling. And we got to get like access backstage. Well, not really because it was on the panel floor or the con floor, but we got to kind of get like press stuff there. So we was kind of put away from everybody else. We was just like considered press.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to get some interviews and got information privy months before it aired on TV. And so we had to keep that quiet. But that was actually a really cool experience, just that they knew who we were. And it was like, I know who you guys are. We watched the thing and I'm like, oh my God, like that's cool. And like not thinking when I'm doing the shows with Women's Wrestling Talk that they're watching, but apparently they actually do watch. And so that was really cool on top of doing the panel and then having the being able to work with Rain, who did the SummerSlam intro in 2020, I think, or 2021 with Big E during SummerSlam. She was a contest winner. And so we became friends because of that. And so I got to meet her finally in person. And she was on the panel for the LA one. And Viva Van, who's like, I think she has like 5 or 6 belts currently, and like the first Vietnamese woman wrestler in America. And so that was really awesome. And Kid Bandit. And
What's the name?
Viva Van.
And what's the you said some type of championship?
She has like 5 or 6 different belts, so she has quite a few. And she's pretty awesome. She's also been on AEW, and so I got to meet her in person finally, because I got an interview with her the year before that, but we haven't met in person. So I got to finally meet her in person. And I was like, Gary, when I got to LA, I was asking people in the LA area, like, would you mind coming on? Because this is your neck of the woods. And so I would, appreciate having some people from the LA area on the panel, because you guys can also speak to what it is for that. I'm like on the opposite end of the country. And so that was pretty cool. Kid Bandit, who's been on like AEW and a bunch of other places. And that was a really awesome experience. And I think probably my most diverse panel, because we had like a producer there as well. It was a trans woman. We had like a range this time. And that was really cool to have as well. And in Chicago, which was really cool. And I got to get a Chicago wrestler on the panel. And she's really young, but she works in Chicago. She has quite a few belts as well.
Did you get Anthony Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup?
No. No.
I could have gotten you a 17-foot Asian man.
So yeah, I'm hoping, I don't really know what I plan on with the panels coming up. It's just, I've applied to quite a few places. So if it comes back up, then I guess we'll try to make it happen. But, it's always just
with some Chi-Town and some other places. You never know. But I do you populate the panels? Like, do you decide who's on the panel because it's your panel?
Yeah, the first one, I had 2 people I definitely wanted on, and I asked them before I got the approval. I was like, if this comes through, would you mind being on the panel? Until when it got, I was like, guys, it's through. And then so the rest of the choices, it was people kind of emailed me, and I kind of went in the order I received it. I thought that was the most fairest way to do it, was just go in the order I got the email. And so
this is what you're going to have to learn
with some of that. Yeah.
Now that you're on the cusp. It's no longer first come first serve. It's you're going to have to go by who's the best presentation in combined with being the biggest name.
Yeah, it was some issue with that. Some people had a problem, and I was like, it wasn't personal at all. And that it was literally I thought the easiest way and the fairest way was just to go by who emailed and asked me first. And so, and if they couldn't do it, then I went to the next person on the list. And it was just like that. There was people who had a problem with that and took it like personal. And I was like, I promise it wasn't a personal thing. If I could have everybody in the panel, I would. But it was only an hour panel. We actually ran out of time in the New York panel. We ran out of time. And they kind of have us like, ladies, kind of wrap it up. And we was like, oh, didn't realize the hour went by that quickly. And so, but it was still a really good experience. I was a little like annoyed, I guess, because people was like, I wasn't trying to be mean or funny in any way. It was just literally like,
I don't know. When you're a big shot, you have to make big decisions, and sometimes that ruffles feathers and hurts feelings. It's just the way it is. Not everyone gets to be on every panel, and it's a meritocracy. It's not it's not just about friends. So anyway, but listen, this is your story, not mine. So that, I guess, that's advice, and you can throw it away if you like. Yeah, because what panel am I on? None for a long time. So all right, so you've been doing the cons, and what promotions are you working for now?
So I just started with Capital Championship Wrestling. And my thing is more virtual, more of a virtual aspect, but it's kind of like doing a press box before a match, kind of similar to like boxing, where they have that final kind of sit down before.
And where were
so
they?
I just started that, and so the first episode should be this week, I believe.
Where were they out of?
They work a few places. I feel like I want to say Jersey. But they've been a few places in America, so I don't want to say what the main. I'm not sure, but I do know they've been in Jersey.
So they're not DC. It's not that capital.
No. I'm going to be working with Titan Championship Wrestling. They have their women's division, which I think is Goddesses of, or something like that, Goddesses of Wrestling, or Goddess Warriors, something like that. And I will be starting with them in July. And that's in Jersey as well. I'll be doing some backstage correspondent work there. And VPW, Victory Pro Wrestling, which is in New York. And I got to meet him 2 months ago, and he was like, I would like to have you on. And so I'm supposed to be starting that in June. And that will be both ring announcing and backstage correspondence. And so those are like the recent places I started working with.
Well, that's good. How about House of Glory?
I would love to, because I actually live very close to House of Glory, and so I would love to do that. It's really hard to reach the guy who runs the place. I've met him already. I have met him, and I've gotten to get a couple of interviews while I was there. Like the buddy Alistair Black, or Malachi Black, and I got that interview, and the buddy Matthews interview Jordan Grace, Deanna Perosa from HOG, and they allowed me to do that, and so that was cool. But I would love to work with them backstage. Again, I'm really close, so I can literally walk.
Doesn't Master P own House of Glory?
He does now, yes. But yes, there's, I guess, the guy who was the first, and so it's a little hard to kind of contact him.
It's Amazing Red, is
Amazing Red. I think his name's Brian. I feel like that's his name. I hope it is. I met him. He's like quiet, and I was told he's a pretty quiet guy, and he is. But hopefully, fingers crossed, in the future I'll be able to, because again, that's actually really close to where I live. I can just walk it.
Well, do you know JD from New York and Jason Solomon? The Solomon Monster Sounds Off. They're like I think they do play-by-play, and I think Jason is now their on-screen authority figure, like their GM.
Yeah, he is.
So I don't know. That could be something. Anyway, neither one of them likes me, so I can't help you there. But most people don't like me. It's fine. But they would like you. All right. So you were talking about the press pass. So what is the process in getting a media pass from, like, say, an AEW?
So usually, TK, who runs Women's Wrestling Talk, she does a lot of that back and forth. And I guess it's easier to come in from one place when there's so many of us on that brand. But usually there's a form we fill out and we tell the dates we can do. And so if there's a New York date I can get to, so when they're like really far up in New York and I don't drive, I won't go there, but I can get to like, obviously I can get to like when I did the Grand Slam show that was in Flushing Meadows, and I can get there. That's pretty easy. And then the one in UBS Arena, I can get by bus, like a 20-minute ride. And so those, if like they approve it, it's just you get there, they give you the media pass, and then they give you...
learned by now that you can get a mark to drive you?
Probably. I feel like that's so weird to ask people that, but maybe in the future I would. But
just give them some Urkel glasses or something, and they can walk around as your assistant.
I have not tried that. I usually go by public transportation, or we're a cabin and there's a bunch of us.
Well, you're welcome.
And so once you get there, you're usually in the press box with a bunch of other people from different outlets, and so that's how the AEW one worked. The WWE one, like I said, it was only
How
for
do they vet
celebrities.
you? Like, I mean, did you just fill out a form and then they go by that? Do they do any
Yeah, usually
verification?
your name and where you're working for, like the outlet you will be in, and then they'll tell you if you got it. I know it's a little harder for their mainer pay-per-views, or like I got surprised I got the Grand Slam one because usually it's really hard. The year before I wasn't able to get it, so I was surprised that I got it this time. And I know like if you do like Double or Nothing or All Out, those are really harder to get. It like you may get approved, you may not. And so I just do the events I know I can get to where it won't require too much travel, just because I don't drive. And I am doing more flights now.
Mhm.
And so like last year I was not flying at all. And so now I am. And so I might do more. I'm hoping to get SummerSlam. I did apply for that. And so I'm hoping, and I know that's a very different situation. I was told it's press box. You could be in like, that's a whole different level of like, where it's like you're away from everybody in a press box and it's very more professional, I guess. And so I would love to do that and get into a press room and talk to one of them. Hopefully, fingers
Mhm.
crossed. Fingers crossed that can happen. But that's my WWE. I was like, I can't do any of these other events, but I can get to SummerSlam. I can get to Detroit. That's not too hard. And so we'll
Oh,
see.
okay. All right. I'm not going to ask why. You can get to Detroit and not other places, but
Well, I can take a flight. I feel like the ones that's like overseas, where like a lot of the pay-per-views are going to take place,
I
I
see.
will have to I haven't got my passport yet, and so I'm working on that as well to get my passport and
Yeah,
get it
but you can
together.
get to
So
Chicago. Every place flies to
yeah,
Chicago. I mean, there's always
yeah,
direct flights there, and you can get to Boston, and if you follow the money mark or friend, with some of the car, you could probably get to the Lowell, Massachusetts. NXT is putting a show there. I think Ring of Honor did a show there at some point or nearby. So yeah, you can go all over the place. MLW, I think, was in Philly. I think maybe they still are doing things there. So I don't know, all sorts of fun stuff. The podcast, you're still doing the Women's Wrestling Network?
yes. I do Mondays. We do the WoW recap of what happened to WoW Wrestling, and then on Thursdays, with Shay, I do the NXT recap, and then on occasion we will do interviews, depending. And they made it where now we usually interview people we do the shows for, and I
Mm-hmm.
guess it makes it because there's a lot of us now on the brand. There's quite a few of us now, and so I guess to make it less complicated, we now usually interview the people we do the shows for, and so I still do those. I think my last interview was with Penelope, I think, Pink, which is Marina Tucker. That's her other name, but in wrestling, and wow, she's Penelope Pink, and I got to do her and their manager Lana, which was a cool interview because they were in gimmick the whole time, and so that was a really fun interview to do. But yeah, I'm still with them twice a week most times, and then if I get the interviews whenever those air.
Do you guys ever tell Bad Guy Jack, Ron, that you can come with him or you're going to help him, but you're really not going to, and just play with him like a yo-yo? Yeah.
He actually came to Chicago for the panel, which was really cool. He went through that whole situation of us getting to Chicago and getting stranded in Cleveland. It was a whole big crazy thing. He was with us, and so I was very grateful for that, because I'm like, he kept us pretty sane. I was a little stressed about everything kind of going the way it went
Yeah,
that
he's pretty unflappable.
day. Yeah.
He's pretty easygoing. Yeah. No, I'm not saying his name, but Bad Guy Jack. Listen, any of you who know Unpopular Review, yes, if you heard show 5, you know that Katrina and I were both on Unpopular Review at the same time, though on different shows, and you can figure out that Bad Guy Jack was and still is on, but he not only worked on some of the same shows as me, but also as Katrina as well, and they're both still there. So I think, are you
Well,
still?
I'm not.
You're
No,
not,
I left on 2020. I was gone in 2020.
I caught myself there. But every now and then, don't you do like guest spots every now and then, guest run-ins?
Yeah, I did. The last time I was on there was the week of the Chicago panel, and they was like, "Well, you want to come
Okay,
on
see,
NXT?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
not crazy.
So
I know I saw it. I mean, I know I get confused when I see Captain Shakespeare and you, and I automatically think it's but I recognize different graphics and similar graphics. I can do that ID thing. So that's good, and it's nice, and also that now Captain Shay is she on the cusp, or is she on your side of the cusp, or is she she's still in the queue?
I feel like she is. I'm glad that she's getting out there. She's even more quiet than I am, and so I've been telling her like, listen, you're getting better with just doing stuff leading and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
once that happens, you get more comfortable. It's a little easier once you're comfortable in front of the camera, and she's been doing that. She's been on 3 of the panels so far. And she's doing her own podcasts and everything, and so I feel like she keeps going. Who knows what like the next 6 or 7 months will be for her. I think she's getting there.
Excellent. Well, that's good. Well, congratulations to her as well. Um, and I think that's really cool. So, what else? What else is on your horizon? What are your goals other than SummerSlam?
I would love to like permanently work with WWE. I feel like that's like always been one of my goals from the beginning. Like if I can get to there, I feel like I would have made it, or even New Japan. Just because I like New Japan, and they do have their American brand now. One of the hosts in Women's Wrestling Talk work with a lot of their American
New
stuff.
Japan strong. I thought you were saying. I'm like, you're gonna need a passport for New Japan.
Oh no, not there. Like all the like American. I mean, obviously, I would love to see a show at least once in Japan for New Japan. I feel like they really put on a show. But just even going for the show in New York they had in October, I was like super excited about it. It was really good. I got to. Well,
what about the Forbidden Door 2? That's coming up in a month and a half.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing. I'm really always impartial with AEW sometimes. So, like, I would do some shows, but I feel like I can't do too many because it gets like a lot, and their fans.
That's a big show. Where is that one?
Where I forgot. I think is it. I'm trying to remember. I know a few of my
Double or Nothing's in Las Vegas
will be there. Some of them will be there. I will not be there though.
Oh, that's a shame. See.
Yeah, but if I can do like New Japan, like the strong stuff at one point, I wouldn't mind that. Impact, I wouldn't mind working with them. I love the women's division there. And I got to meet a few of them as well. I wouldn't mind, but WWE, I feel like that's like my obviously top goal.
Of course. I mean, everyone wants to play for the Yankees. But New Japan Strong, do they go to New York?
The only show they had in New York was the one that they had, Battle on 44th, and that was a New York show. They're usually, I feel like, Philly and California, but I wouldn't DC. Even, yeah, I wouldn't mind, flying out for that because it's New Japan, and I feel like from what I was,
you can take Amtrak straight to DC from
I can. Yeah,
I've made that trip many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. You can do it. Don't you have? Don't you know peeps down here
in
the DC area?
I think maybe one person, but I'm not even sure if that's DC.
Demon.
Virginia. I feel like maybe it's Virginia. I may be getting that wrong.
Oh well, Northern Virginia's close enough. Anyway, yeah, but DC is definitely doable on the train or otherwise. So that's really cool. But you were telling me where else, besides WWE? I mean, maybe there is nothing other than WWE, but until you get there, there's got to be some lily pads that you're looking to jump to. Impact, I don't know where they. I mean, Impact right now, as far as I know, is in Australia. So
yeah, they start they're doing a tour now. I know they do a lot of filming in the South a little bit. Sometimes they'll do Philly filmings as well. I was trying to get to the Multiverse, which I believe is a New Japan double event. I think it's like a joint event with New Japan, but I will be out. I won't be available because I'm doing a book signing in California, and so I won't even be in the area at all. I will be in the other side of the country.
I might be wrong, but I think that show, it ends up that New Japan also has conflicts, and I think they pulled out, and I think Impact is instead of the Multiverse, they went to Australia.
It might be. I know it's in August, and I'm like, oh crap, I can't. The day I would literally be in California. And
it's like they got a date with the pretty girl, and then the pretty girl said, "Nah, I'm sorry, it's not happening." And so they're like, "We'll go to Hawaii instead to make ourselves feel better." That's sort of what happened. I think. I'm not an insider like you, but I know that something happened with New Japan, and they couldn't make it. There were. The new excuse in wrestling seems to be visa issues. I don't actually believe that New Japan has any visa issues. They've been coming back and forth for, 20 years now. So I think I think visa issues is the new, I want to spend more time with my family excuse. But yeah, I think they broke up with Impact. It probably has more to do with Tony saying, the other TK saying, yeah, I'm paying the full freight for Forbidden Door 2, and I want it to be exclusive. So if I'm paying for all of you guys to get over here, and for you to stay here for 10 days, and you can work indie shows during time, I don't want you being one of my competitors during time. And they probably said, all right, fine, that's honorable. All right, so that's enough out of me and my little conspiracy theory and my tinfoil musings. Though I think I'm right. All right, so if like, how do you approach an Impact or an AEW or an MLW or someone and say, listen, I'm interested in doing some stuff with you. I can go to shows X, Y, and Z, or I can do a video. Like, do you just, at this point, can you just send an email, or do you have to send a tape? I know nobody does tapes anymore, but like a recorded session, like an audition.
I get, like, at least for the press stuff, it's usually application. As far as working, I'm not sure for WWE at all what their process is. But for other places I wanted to work to, I usually just sent an email and then sent links to stuff that I did. Like, this is like, my interviewing or backstage stuff, or like if you need a virtual situation, like, then I'll show those. I don't have too much ring announcing clips yet because I've only done one actual ring announcing gig. But I sent some of them just like, this is me ring announcing, and it might be my best because I literally, it's the one time I did it.
What's your big voice? You've got a...
I don't know. I feel like even then, I feel like my voice is still very soft, and so I'm working on attenuating, like speaking louder. Like, even when I'm mad, I feel like my voice is still very soft spoken, even when I'm upset. And so I'm like, I gotta work on sounding a bit louder, where it's not like quiet sounding. So I'm working on that. If I take another ring announcing, I'm working on trying to get better with like extenuating. Like,
everybody has someone that brings out their inner loud, whether it's an ex or a sibling or something.
I know, like, even I'm a mom, and so even I'm like yelling at the kids, and I feel like I'm yelling, I might be a little louder, but my voice still sounds very soft. And so it's like, how do I not sound soft? I guess, where it's like I might be a little louder, but my voice still sounds really very soft. And so
I have no good advice on that. People tell me I'm too loud as it is, so I mean, it just seems to be me. So I'm not sure about that one. So, what is the plan then for you in the next 6 months? Where are we most likely to see you on a bigger stage?
I don't know. I'm hoping, like I said, I wouldn't like. While I do have my issues with Tony, I have no poker face, and I feel like even with Tony Khan's the press conferences when I gotten to speak to him or got asked a question, the last time he was actually a lot better about responding. Normally he goes on these random rants, and I'm like, I didn't even ask that, but okay. And
well,
normally
he does.
It's always, I usually try to stick to women's wrestling just because I'm usually representing women's wrestling talk. And so I always ask a women wrestling type question. And sometimes somebody will ask a woman's question and he'll go on a whole tangent that had nothing to do with what we asked. And so the last time I was just asking in particular about Willow, I think it was Willow and Athena for the Ring of Honor women's, and I was just asking what was the plan after this matchup, because it was only the one women's match on the card. And so I was just like, what's the plan to include more of the Ring of Honor women? And so he gave a decent answer, and it wasn't a tangent. And I was like, all right, well, thank you for answering that. And it wasn't like a crazy answer. Normally, if somebody asks a women wrestling's question, it's always like really weird. And so I was like, okay, this time he got better with that, and so I can't complain. But I feel like if I work with him, if he says something that might annoy me and I have no poker face, that might get me in trouble because I don't really hide my emotions well.
Well, he has no poker face either, so.
And so I'm like, if he says something, I'm like, oh, Tony, like, that'll probably show on my face, and then, that might be an issue. But I wouldn't mind though if
just pretend you're Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, and channel them and be like, I love this man. I love this man. I love this man.
Okay, I can't.
He's my happy face.
I can't. Sometimes he does and says things, and I'm like, God, stop, Tony. Or sometimes he tweets things, and I'm like, why are we on Twitter? Like, just remove yourself from Twitter. And
well,
so that
Washington's going to fix that all. And by the way, look, I mean, there's a history of podcasters making the leap to AEW. Maybe you'll be running their social media soon.
I mean, I don't know how to be smarter about it. I feel like instead of posting some of the stuff that he posted, I'm like, you got to be smart sometimes.
I mean, listen, if you issued a memo with his, signature that said, everyone stop tweeting, just promote the shows, don't respond. Thank you, the management. If you did that, you would earn 2-year salary if they listened.
Yeah, I feel like I could do that. Definitely, like, listen, guys, we don't need to tweet everything we feel. Um,
Or anything you feel, except for, isn't this new shirt cool?
I mean, I wouldn't mind. I mean, if I could get my foot in the door, though, I wouldn't mind it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can be professional. I gotta control my facial expressions, but I wouldn't mind. I'm hoping one of them, again, WWE is the main goal, but I don't know how realistic that is for the end of the year. But hopefully, if I can kind of just get myself in press wise and maybe talk to somebody or just know, sometimes some who if I
Mm-hmm.
can just get like maybe some kind of rapport with somebody in WWE that maybe
Kayla.
will open
Kayla's
the door.
approachable.
So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. But I just want to do more stuff. It just allows me to be more comfortable. Like, I do want to do more ring announcing just to be more comfortable doing it. And any place, I feel like I'm more better with interviews now than I was when I first started. Like now I just do it and it's not me thinking about it as I used to before. It's like now. And to the point where VPW, he was like, I noticed that even with like some of the wrestlers, like I think one guy threw a chair or something during the interview and it was in gimmick and he was like, you didn't even flinch. And I was like, I don't know what you was going to do and I didn't expect you to do that, but I didn't respond like, he was like, you just kept asking the question. And he was like, that was a good thing that you got into it where it wasn't like you're scared or anything. And I think another wrestler too, like got all in my face and everything. And they was like, you went through a lot today. And I'm like, yeah, but I knew you guys were doing it in gimmick and you didn't mean anything by it. And so they was like, you didn't flinch, you didn't move or anything. You just did your job. And so that helped me get that wrestling promotion. And so hopefully, just do more stuff where I can get more comfortable and it's just like second nature and I'm not overthinking it like I tend to do sometimes. So
Who are your big interviews coming up?
Uh I will be like Renee. She's married to Drake Maverick. I don't know if you remember him. He's been WWE, his wife.
Sure, Renee Michelle.
Yes, Renee Michelle. I did interview her already on Women's Wrestling Talk, but I will be doing that for CCWA, and so that's cool. Hopefully Kylan King, that's a bit of a I have to go through Impact now, I believe, but she's somebody I would love to, I'm hoping to do that with CCWA as well. Just it depends, who kind of goes my way. I feel like I've been, really fortunate for people who even agreed to like come on and talk to me for a reason. And then like right after it's like, oh, you're doing like, I got to do Billy Starks a while ago. And so I'm like, oh, look at her now. And I'm like, this is so cool. I got to it right before everything really started taking off for her. And so I would love to get her back on and talk to her again, just because she's done so much since the last time I spoke to her.
Yeah, plus she's over 18 now, so she doesn't have to ask her mom.
I mean, no, she actually, her interview was pretty cool. And I asked her first time, she was just like, yeah, give me time. And I was like, okay. And I thought it would be a bit of a hassle because, of her age, because I've had interviewed other people that was like about 16 or so. And, it was always like, whatever works for your parent. I'm not going to ever overstep somebody's parent. I am a mom, and so I get it. But yeah, some people I would love to interview again, just to kind of be like a catch up, like, oh, this is what we've done since the last time we spoke.
Well, you should.
But
who have you been working with or seen in the promotions that you've been working with or for that you think that we as fans should be watching, that they may be on the cusp?
Definitely Darius Carter. I think he's like a really good heel. I like, if you think of Randy Orton type heel work, where it's like kind of really get under your skin and it's done well. Mm-hmm. He's somebody I always say like one of the best heels to me in the indie business. Like just like very professional, and like he turns it on so quickly and turn it off. And I think he's somebody that definitely people should watch out for. Jen Savani, who's she's on the West Coast, but I got to interview her. I got to do the panel with her as well. And just watching her, the stuff she's been able to do, and I'm just like, yeah, she's somebody who's definitely like, I see it happening on the West Coast. If you're like on the West Coast, if you're watching West Coast wrestling, definitely check her out. I think that's somebody who's really on it. Brittany Brooks, who is just turned 18, I believe, and she's really young, but she's already gotten to face some people. That's been pretty cool. Devlin Macabre, who I think she had wrestled Su Yung, and that like I got to see that, and that was pretty freaking awesome. And I'm like, this is cool. Like, and I think she's in overseas now. I think she's in the Netherlands right now. I think she just won a title. She was there for like 3 days, so she won a title already. And she's somebody who I'm like, yeah, just I see it happening in like a year. I really do. And so that's like I can think off top of my head right now that I've like gotten to speak to that I'm like, yeah, I can definitely see you like doing some crazy stuff in like a year from now.
Okay, very good. If people want to find you, support you, follow you, how can they do so?
I'm on all social media for the most part in Cat We Trust, but Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. The E is a three in the we. But I'm on there. I'm usually posting on Instagram, occasionally Twitter, Facebook, not as much as I used to. I'm trying to be better at the Facebook, at least with the Facebook page, because my personal account, I obviously post on my personal account, but like the page, I'm trying to get better at that. But you'll probably catch me on Instagram most likely, or on YouTube or Twitch for both my channel and Women's Wrestling Talk. That's the easiest way to find me.
Women's Wrestling Talk. That's the podcast. And what are the promotions where people can catch you at?
I am at We Are Wrestling, Capital Championship Wrestling, Victory Pro Wrestling, Titan Championship Wrestling, occasionally Battle Club Pro. And if Black Girl Magic is like a yearly thing for them, I am there as well.
Black Girl Magic?
Yes, they're more yearly than anything, and so that's like a yearly thing. So I won't say like really, unless you're going there for the year, you won't probably catch me that too much there. But the other places, usually whenever they have a show, I will probably be breaking the shows.
Are they on like, or and I don't mean any one of the promotions in particular, but are any of these promotions on like Fight or BR or DAZN?
Yeah, some of them are on Title Match Network, IWTV, which I have been on shows for both of those, and so you can catch those there. I'm not, and I know some of them put them on YouTube, but I believe mostly Title Match Network. A few of those will be on that. So,
well, very fun. Thank you for coming back on again. I wanted to do a follow up with you because you were on the cusp, and I'm not sure that you really believed it at the time. I think you probably still feel like you're on the cusp, but I think that you're over the cusp. But maybe we'll revisit again in another year and a half's time and see where you are. Then maybe you'll have made it to SmackDown or something, something else. But yeah, that's very good. Keep it up, and thank you for joining us again here on Garden Views.
Thank you.